Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the line 90.7 FM. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Real News. And today we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Start talking about the birthright citizenship that's making everybody lose their shit. So Trump said in an Axios interview that he wants to get rid of birthright citizenship with a executive order. As some people say, it's part of the 14th Amendment. And Lindsey Graham 2.0 is being cool again for some reason. He wants to present a bill to get rid of it, which would probably be the most sensible way. But there's a lot of misinformation about this because some people say, like, oh, the 14th Amendment gives illegal immigrants birthright citizenship. That's not true entirely. The Supreme Court has never ruled that. They've only ruled that legal immigrants are given birthright citizenship. And, of course, you know, Americans, they're born here and they're already citizens. And that's where that subject of jurisdiction thereof line has become a bit of controversy. And I just learned actually today that on the one of the government's actually official websites, if you're like an ambassador and you come here and have a kid, you know, if you're an ambassador from another country, that is not protected. They do not get birthright citizenship. So if you're an illegal, it's literally the same thing.
Well, here's the whole issue with the 14th Amendment. That was written to give slaves citizenship in the United States.
Right.
And that's completely gone now. Like, honestly, I don't even think that should have been an amendment because it was a very time-limited thing. Like, it would only be maybe, 60 to 100 years after the freedom of slaves. Now it's like the appendix. Like it was a relic of an older time when it was needed, but now it just kind of bursts and spews things everywhere. Now, like, see, if you're a citizen, if your parents are a citizen, or maybe like even like a permanent resident status, I could see.
Yeah.
But my problem is if you're an illegal and you have a kid with another illegal, then how are you a citizen? That'd be like if I decide to go and if I was in your house and I had a wife and then she gave birth and then be like, oh, well, we're part of the family now because my wife gave birth. My kids, I'm not a part of the family, but the kids now your kid as well. So, going to pay for all of its needs. That doesn't make any sense. This whole issue makes no sense because, like, how does, like, if I had a kid in most other countries too, like most other civilized, like, first world nations, like, with the exception of Canada, but what's Canada's real issue? Like, they don't have like a lot of illegal immigrants coming over, at least not until recently.
Yeah.
But the United States, it's just kind of been like, and people haven't really been doing as much until more recently. Like back in the 1800s when we had no welfare state, it wasn't a big deal. Citizenship was a different concept back then because you really didn't get much for being a citizen of any place. Like passports, that was more of like a past couple hundred years phenomenon, like and that's why it wasn't a big deal until especially now. And right now we have citizenship hotels, like, and they busted one of these, I think it was either in California or Florida, and they had like people from China paying $40,000 to $80,000 to go and give birth in the hotel, and it was perfectly legal, and it still is technically perfectly legal for them to go about doing this, and that's the problem. It's a loophole. Like, you're not an American citizen. Like, if you want the United States to have open citizenship, that's another topic. I'd completely disagree with that. But right now, it's currently not the issue. And I'm surprised that, like, not everyone agrees that illegal aliens shouldn't be citizens. Because there's a leftist viewpoint that this is also, like, a dangerous loophole. Because hear me out. If you're a leftist, you want to have more migrants and whatnot come in who are needy and deserving.
Yeah.
Why should someone who's just born here get and they're not even American citizen, like, an extra privilege? Like, they're against privilege. So why would they allow this? Because they're basically
creating a hierarchy here.
Well, they're bypassing the immigration queue, and that's kind of cheating. I mean, it is cheating.
Yeah.
Because let's say that you're some guy from like Mozambique, you come over here, you want to be, you're a genius, but there's only a handful of spaces allotted. But then, this guy who's, you're this genius guy, and then you have this, Bob or something, or Bill. He's he was like I guess would be a dreamer or whatever. Like, he was born in the United States, but two illegal immigrants got deported, can't speak the language. He has no skills. And he would be granted a place above someone who comes from another country, who wants to be who's studied English, who has reputable skills, who'd be a net contributor to the economy. Why do they get an extra privilege that just because their parents were born here and they weren't even legal citizens? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And honestly, it should piss off the left and it should piss off the right, because, it's also a major security flaw. Because, like, let's say that, Saddam Hussein, back in the day, he had a kid and the wife came to the United States and gave birth and then went right back to Iraq.
Yeah.
And then the son would be able to go to the United States, because he's a citizen there. He'd be able to come to the United States and perform espionage or do other things, get a weapon in the United States because they're a legal citizen. And, barring anything else, he has those rights if you're a dual citizen. Like, and I think this should be fixed, honestly, because if you are if you're on a visa, I think it should depend on your type of visa. If you're here as a temporary worker and you have a kid, that kid should be if you're from another country, you have citizenship somewhere else, that would be the citizenship of the kid, and that should be stated in the documents when you go and apply for work visa over here, unless the mother or father was a United States citizen, because that's we're not going to change that. And if you come illegally, it shouldn't be at all. If you're a permanent resident, like a green card or something to that matter, then yeah, I think that there's a greater case and you might be able to get, the kid might be a United States citizen. But I mean, you could always naturalize the kid too later if you stay in the United States. But I think this is it's very bad on the left. I think it makes the left look bad because most people don't think that if you come here illegally and you have a kid, that the kid should be a United States citizen. That's stealing and you get to keep what you steal. I don't like that. If you go and rob a bank, if your parents rob the bank, they can't go and put that in a trust fund for you. That they get the money back. And that's essentially what they're doing. Instead of the bank, they're robbing the United States people. This does not help regular United States citizens who are from, one or both parents who are here legally. This hurts them. This devalues citizenship.
Yeah, and I'm perfectly fine with an American that's that was. You're a citizen of this country. You've already been here, and you have like a normal American, not an immigrant, just somebody that's already born here, and you have a kid, and that kid can automatically become a citizen. I'm perfectly fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is people that are not Americans that are living here and have kids, and then those kids become, automatically citizens. That's not fair to anyone.
Well, yeah, like, why should a tourist, you come over here from some other country on a tourist visa, then you give birth here, and you just had to come here for like a day or a week, and then you're somehow a citizen?
Yeah.
Why should that be the case?
Well, yeah, it's just, and like we said, that the 14th Amendment wasn't created to deal with this stuff. It was so that states weren't denying slave citizenship. So they made amendments so that there's no way they could get around with it. And I understand that for the time. But now we have, processes like amendments where we can change the Constitution to fit the time. Now, what also you could say is what probably is going to happen is this is going to go to the Supreme Court, and they're going to rule an actual interpretation about illegal immigrants in this. I think they're going to shoot it down, say, illegal immigrants are not protected, because you read the actual thing, and they're within the jurisdiction of their country and not this country, if that's how you interpret the jurisdiction thereof line. And the other thing is that the main problem I've had with this, and I haven't just had this position because Trump mentioned it. I've had this position since middle school, way before Trump. And what I've always seen a problem with it is that it's a magnet for illegals. It gives them an incentive to come over, because if your kid becomes an American citizen, now you can apply for a whole bunch of benefits. You can get all kinds of government handouts, all kinds of shit like that. And there's even numbers to back me up. There was this study done by the Center for Immigration Studies, which is a big source for a lot of the immigration numbers. I've used them for a lot of papers. It said that 300,000 anchor babies are born a year. 300,000.
Oh, yeah, and then it's not even just the kid being born. Then they have an option once they're in here, then their parents apply for citizenship, and they have, the anchor point. They can then have their parents come over more easily, and that's wrong, too. Because they broke the law back then, they shouldn't be given any sort of special privileges. And, it wasn't the kid's fault for being born here, but then again, they shouldn't get the benefits. Like, the thief doesn't get the benefits of their parents, or the child of a thief shouldn't get the benefits of the parent having, robbed a bank. And I think, this should be a quick and easy thing. And honestly, it's going to be hard because I feel like the Supreme Court is so crazy. But I think with, Kavanaugh and who was the other guy, the Gorsuch.
Gorsuch, yeah.
I think that's going to really help turn things around. Cause
Yeah.
I think that will be good, but then the left is going to start screaming and hollering, but they always do. Like, they're like the boy cried wolf, like Chicken Little. They scream about things so much that people don't take them seriously, and I think that's a good thing for us in the here and now, at least. Maybe in the future that could be a problem when they actually have things, like government surveillance. But they supported that. Like Obama supported government surveillance. He increased it, But yeah, I think that's most of my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Last thing I'll just say is once again that this doesn't apply to illegals. And I actually had to mention something because I was watching a video about this, and fucking Cenk, our favorite, Young Turks commentator, he was like, well, when Trump had his kids here, his wife, Ivana, she wasn't a citizen, so they'll be deported too. Others.
No, no. Like, if you have one parent who's a citizen,
like
then
Trump.
That's completely legal.
Yeah.
If it was his wife there legally?
Yeah, she was not a citizen at the time.
Oh yeah, but was she here legally? Was she?
Yeah, she was here legally.
Okay, then that's fine.
Yeah, I know. And Trump is a citizen.
Even if she wasn't a legal citizen.
Yeah, Trump is a citizen.
According to international law, like as long as international law is really weird about this too. 'Cause some countries it depends if you claim the child, if it's like the father versus another, but like still they'd be legal citizens either way because the father claimed them.
Yeah, it was just funny watching Cenk because he's trying to get like these like gotchas. And he had like his reporter going on the streets, like interviewing Trump supporters that didn't fully understand this law. I mean, I didn't fully understand this till like a few days later, and I had to research a bit because this is a kind of complicated because there's so much disinformation out there. There's so many people pushing agendas that don't understand things fully. Like you hear the left keep bringing up the example of the Chinese guy, like, oh, it's this Chinese guy, and they gave him protection, his kids got protection. Well, he was here legally. He was a permanent resident. He was here legally. It's a big fucking difference between what we're talking about now, which is illegal immigrants. But
yeah, they can tell a difference between like 100 genders, but they can't tell the difference between an illegal and a legal immigrant.
Yes.
Well, let's be real over here. They just, I think they know the difference, but they just want to go and say otherwise because they'll end up voting Democrat.
Oh yeah, well that's what the left.
That's the grand scheme.
The left used to be anti-illegal immigration until they realized, holy shit, we can get modern slave labor, which is what the corporations lobby them for because they get cheap, wages. It's going to be cheaper, than any American that they hire. And we get a lot of new voters. That's what they want. They want votes and they want cheap labor.
Well, yeah, they're the party of trying to be trendy. That's like they used to support like the black community back in the day, but now they've abandoned it in form, at least in a lot of ways, to go and try to cater to like illegal immigrants and Hispanic voters. Like they go and trade one for the other because one's looking more hip now. And that's why they want to have open borders because more voters for them, and nothing will ever get done. And eventually they'll start changing. You can see with the Cubans, like a lot of them are actually Republican. Like Ted Cruz.
They voted for Trump in 2016.
And that's the problem. So they try to go and find everyone who, like, it's not the party of, like we support this. It's the party of we don't support Republicans.
Yeah.
It's the party of I'm going to go and try to destroy like every sort of like they try to go and progress so far like forward in their like minds that they just go and like walk off a cliff. I think that's the Democrats in a nutshell.
They
not
shoot
all
themselves
of them.
in the foot. It's what they keep doing, and that's why they keep losing elections.
It's not all of them, but like you see, they start to radicalize people, and they claim that Republicans like are radicalizing people. No, like Republicans, they're conservatives. They're the exact opposite. They don't change.
Well, there's that fucking girl on CNN that said that Trump radicalizes more people than ISIS.
No, that's not true. Like the Republicans, they are the exact opposite. They don't radicalize. They just hold still.
Yeah,
and that's all, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
they just hold still and they don't really push anything forward except for Trump because that's why
they don't like him.
Hates him.
Yeah,
he has his own ideas. Like Republicans, they just kind of stay there for most of history, and then the left they keep pulling them in a different direction, and they start budging every so often because. Like you can just go and look at history. Like what are they conserving? Like conservatives are like liberals from like 40 years ago. When you think about it.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
In other things they're different, but. There's a lot of similarities.
Speaking of Trump conservatives, in Brazil there was an election, and the right-wing candidate Jair?
Was it Jair?
Jair. I know it's pronounced his last name.
Bolsonaro.
Yeah, Bolsonaro. Won Brazil's election with 55% of the vote, defeating his left-wing opponent, who had 44% of the vote, and Bolsonaro has pledged basically to make Brazil great again. That's literally what he's kind of said. and he's going to fight a lot of crime, fight a lot of corruption, 'cause obviously that's big problems in Brazil. And he's, his position wise, he's pro-life, pro-gun, pro-military regime, anti-gay marriage, anti-affirmative action, anti-mass immigration, and anti-drug legalization. So he's pretty much a more authoritarian Trump. And he wants to align more with China and less with align more with the U.S. and less with China, which is what Trump, wants to get away from China as well and to fight back. And of course, this guy's been called racist, sexist, homophobic, which he said some crazy shit. I just don't know if it's been taken out of context. But I think the problem is Brazil's a different culture, and they need more authoritarian figures because that's the only way you're gonna clean this shit up because it's a shithole.
Yeah, well, that's the same with like many countries, like especially like countries that are like third world sort of countries, not like first world countries like the United States and Europe. They need to have a strong authoritarian backbone because if they don't, things tend to go bad. Like, and that's why you see all these dictators in like the Middle East and in Africa is because that's the only thing that people respond to. Otherwise, it'll just be like mob violence, and it's sad, but like that's just the way the world kind of works.
Yeah,
They need to have a strong figure, or else people like you have gangs controlling everything. It would be like Mexico, where they have cartels and everyone's corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's probably still be corrupt people, but like, that's how they improve things is they get someone who stays in there, builds some stability. That the times are hard, and then, maybe 100 years from now things might be different. Maybe sooner than that because of technology and whatnot. But yeah, I think it was a good thing for Brazil because the entire a lot of South America tends to go either one way or the other. You get your like Pinochet on one hand, then you have Venezuela on the other.
Yeah,
which is really better. I don't know. I'd say I'd rather have the stable right wing one than the Venezuela where it costs $500 for a roll of toilet paper.
yeah. It's really I don't want to say the better of two evils, but it's like literally like, do you want the worst option or the least worst with possible good stuff?
Well, and this guy's not even necessarily like Pinochet either. Like,
Oh no, he's not that far, but he's just very authoritarian. Like I don't know, entirely what his policies are entirely. If those crazy things he said have been taken out of context, like I just don't know enough. But
yeah, it's like with parents. Like, would you rather? Is it better for the kid to have a parent who like spanks the kid, makes sure they do their homework and is strict, or have like the mom who wants to be everyone, like a single mother who wants everyone to be like best friends with them and gives them liquor, and lets them do whatever they want to do?
Is that like an atypical?
Oh my god! Like it's like it's sad.
We keep mentioning that,
and
show.
that's kind of. I mean, I know people who are like that, and like it's a lot about real life. Like and that's with governments too, because governments it's like kind of an extension of the family, at least in the modern sense. And would you rather have? And the child is the citizens. If you have like this liberal country that they're over, like they'll take care of everything, they'll wipe your little hiney, and you don't learn how to do things yourself. Or would you rather have a country where things are a little bit more authoritarian yet but it's more stable? You don't have socialism, so you have to go and do things yourself. You have the Second Amendment to go and protect yourself, or whatever their version of that is. Because
probably don't have
pro-gun. Well, he's pro-gun, so they want to go and enable you to protect yourself.
Yeah, which is
according
good.
to what I saw on the notes.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, and that's what happens if you have a child whose parents just let them do whatever they want. The child's not going to, he's going to going astray because it's very easy to go and see the fun things. It's not fun to eat veggies and it's not fun to work out. Then you have having like a kid who's, like 280 pounds and he doesn't do anything, goes and does drugs and he'll party all the time, not go to school versus you have the authoritarian dad. And sure, he may have wished, certain things were different. Didn't have the best childhood, but at least he ended up becoming a decently functional adult. That doesn't happen in all cases. Some of them just kind of snap, but that's the same thing with governments. It doesn't work. No government's going to work for every single person in the citizenship.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what they have to go and do is they have to have a choice. And in general, it's better to have better to go and have like a more like. Not like a super leftist government. No communism, no socialism. I think that's a good way forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't have much else to say, so I think we should dig into the fun one, which is there was this girl that went on Dr. Phil. We'll watch a few of the clips right here, where she is a obviously black person. Like, she's pretty black looking, but she claims that she's white.
Oh, it's like Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks.
It reminded me of the fucking Dave Chappelle black white supremacist skit. Like you can see a lot of parallels with this, but it's pretty fucking funny. Like this is some funny shit right here. Like because first of all, the left's in a catch-22 here because they have to accept, oh, I identify as blank, even though it's rejecting reality. But what she says is funny.
I know a lot of people take issue with my beliefs. I'm white. I'm a Caucasian because everything about me is different from an African American. I have naturally straight hair. My hair isn't nappy. It doesn't require weave. My nose is not giant as like African Americans. My lips are perfect. They're not too big and they're not too small. Like, they're just perfect. My ears, I don't have black people ears because they're really giant. Most African Americans speak ghetto. But when it comes to black people, I think they're all ugly and I have nothing in common with them. I'm different from African Americans because I'm white. My figure is just like Kim Kardashian and she's a wonderful role model. I act and I think like a white person instead of a black person.
How she know the white person thinks like if
she's
she's not white?
And I'm utterly better than them. Like we're on two different levels. Like, okay, African Americans are here, I'm here. White people act and think just way more mature than African Americans. Black people, they think in a cool way. When I think about African Americans, I feel like asking them, what is wrong with them? They're really dangerous. If African American is on the same street as I am, I'll cross the street to avoid their chaotic, thuggish ways.
Are you okay?
I'm irritated.
I'm sorry.
I just know that I'm white. I mean, she might not know that I'm white, but I know that I'm white. I can feel it through my
This is
veins.
Rachel Dolezal's like twin sister.
I tell my mom.
This is like Rachel Dolezal like times 100.
It's just
My
the
mom tries to
opposite.
criticize me about my supposed race. I tell her she's just ignorant. There's nothing wrong with my views or beliefs because I have freedom of speech and everything I'm saying is true.
I mean, this is just sad.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Like, this is just sad. This is like, it's mental illness. Like,
Well, there's a bit more to that story, though. Where's the funny shit? Where she goes,
well, like, see, people need to go and learn to love themselves for the way that they are. Like, for things they can change it, but you can't change your race. You know, she's being like the opposite of, she basically is like, Michael Jackson, where you want
Michael Jackson had like a skin disease. Like this bitch.
I don't know. That seemed a little bit fishy. I think he bleached himself. Or he put stuff on there. Like
I'm just saying he looked better when he was black. I'm just saying he shouldn't have bleached himself.
It's an illness and it's spawned by, especially nowadays, because everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna get sex change operation. Then you have people like Rachel Dolezal, so I'm gonna be black and I'm gonna pretend that I'm black.
Yeah.
And like Sean King.
Oh God. Talcum X, as they call him. I think this is another part where she says something really funny.
Just embrace who you are.
Well, I'll tell you the twist at the end because it's a bit funny what came out later.
People try to tell me I'm an African American, but that's not true. African Americans are loud, rude, obnoxious, and just altogether fat and ugly.
If you ask me,
very
my
racist.
16-year-old daughter has
Her
a
own
very
race.
out-of-control identity crisis. She truly believes she's white. When Treasure was 5 years old, I've noticed Treasure was having issues with her race. She wouldn't play
Issues
with the
with her
black
race.
children.
Yeah,
Treasure
because,
would
that's
mangle
because the
or
media,
destroy her.
they make it out to be that black people are bad, the media, because like they say that, white people have so much privilege, and so they want to get the privilege themselves by not being black.
But yeah, exactly.
And they're the racist ones, like the liberal media.
Oh yeah, they are racist.
Like, you can be whoever you are and try to be the best person. You can't change your race. You can try.
Just accept it and move on.
Absolutely.
Treasure was having issues with her race. She wouldn't play with the black children. Treasure would mangle or destroy her black dolls. She would cut their heads off, pull off their arms. She would pretend that they were the white doll's slaves.
Bought me beautiful black dolls instead of buying me the ugly, big-lipped black doll.
I felt mortified. I was a single mom trying to support.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Makes sense now.
Yeah,
Single fucking mother.
This is where a lot of problems come from.
Yeah.
Name your poison.
From a mostly white, affluent neighborhood to the city, which was mostly African American.
From the suburbs to the hood. I was not anything like other black people. They were all hood rats and they were all ghetto. They all act like monkeys.
Her school was predominantly African American. She started to say very racist things in public. Like, I hate black people's hair, they're dirty. She would call them the N-word.
Technically, isn't she allowed to since she's black? Aren't they allowed
By
to?
the left standards, yes. Yes, she's allowed
But she
to.
doesn't want to be black, so then
You gotta accept your identity.
It made me feel
That's
good
what's saying
What
so
are you
funny
gonna
about
do?
this.
in person because it helps them stay in their place. All the African American kids that I was around were all ugly looking and losers. They're all gorillas.
My daughter is a racist against her own race.
It's okay if you're white to be racist against your own race, though.
Yeah, that's cool nowadays. That's hip and trendy. But you do this shit and you're on Dr. Phil.
God. What?
Oh, wait.
My daughter is a racist against her own race. What I find the most disturbing is my daughter is consumed with the Ku Klux Klan. It just shakes me to my core.
Treasure, have you ever reached out to the KKK?
I have their number on speed dial.
This has got to be fake. Like, I don't know about reality TV shows. This has got to be fake.
Let's just say the sister says it is.
They keep me like current on like updated events. I've had the KKK's number since I was like in middle school.
No, this has got to be fake.
Oh, okay. The twist is the sister has come out and said that this is 100% fake. That's what she said. She said that this is a total hoax because I'll get the quote. She said, it's all hoax to, quote, become a meme. That was her goal. She wanted to become a meme.
Okay, see, yeah, that makes sense. This just seemed too fake.
Yeah.
Like, this is reality TV show, folks. This is why I don't believe much of what I see on reality TV. It's just a bunch of fake news, half of it,
Oh, yeah.
and generate outrage. Like, it was like with that, what was it, that Sons of Guns? They go and have them buy the guns, and then they'd be
I used
like,
to watch that.
I used to watch, but it was so fake because I looked at the reviews and stuff. And same thing with Pawn Stars. They lie about things too because they can't actually record you on television set to recreate it. With the Sons of Guns, they got like some like shotgun. They like made it look like, you know, they put all the tactical crap on there. And it was like, oh, it's, you know, $1,300 for this, what was this, Mossberg 5. It was like a Remington 870. And they just put like a, you know, like a red dot on it and like a cool stock.
Yeah.
And I think like the guy got in trouble for like raping people.
Whoa.
I think he did. I think like the guy who was in
Oh,
charge.
yeah. I remember hearing about that.
he was,
yeah.
like, raping the girl.
I remember
that's
my
not funny, but that's.
Oh, he was raping the girl on the show?
I think that I don't even know anymore because half the stuff I see is fake.
It's fake,
news.
yeah.
Like you can't even tell, and it's a reality TV show, so I just discount everything that I see now on reality.
Or maybe it was
TV.
he got drunk or something, drunk driving, I think. Because I remember my dad always say he looked like an asshole, and it turns out he's an asshole.
He's on reality TV. Like I bet the Pawn Stars have a bunch of secrets. Like Chum Lee was a meth addict.
Yeah,
But she doesn't look like a meth addict. Like
Well,
usually
I don't know if
there's-
he was a meth addict, but they took he had like a busted for drugs, and they took all his guns and shit like that.
that's
But
it's just,
Rick is the cool one because he's pro-Trump.
I don't even know with that show. It's probably all fake. They probably just do it so they can get like the Republican audience
Get the
to like
clicks.
it. They get some people going like oh yeah, 'cause probably half the people who watch like History Channel, you know, they expect real history,
Yeah.
so you know they're probably right wing. But like, what has happened to the History Channel? Let's talk. Did we talk about that before on here?
We did talk about that a bit. I'm gonna find the one part in this video because there's another funny part, and then we'll talk about that.
Oh. I doubt that seems fake too. Yeah, see, she is this. Yeah, see, we already know this is fake news.
Yeah. Well, there's one funny part. Hey, I guess it's on this clip where she just goes white power.
Oh, like this is so fake.
Yeah, it's fake, but it's
funny, but it's fake.
It's
Because
like
I could see it happening. Someone's probably gonna try to
but
do
that's
it
the
too.
thing.
Like they're putting
It's
this on the
believable.
television. They're gonna make someone actually try to be this way.
Well, remember when Dick Masterson went on here and trolled them as being like this? He was like, "There's nothing more liberating and freeing to a woman than chauvinism and shit like that." He said like men and women are better. Like he did a good troll. This is a good
I
a
can't
semi-good
I
troll.
can't find that like art like that video anywhere.
Oh yeah, you can find stuff
I
out
need
there.
like the full video, not just
the
clip.
full thing.
Oh, it's probably
There's like
copyrighted.
clips of it, but
I've
this
seen
one
the
you can get the
clips.
full. I think this was a decent troll, but Dick Masterson was like the supreme troll.
Oh yeah, you can't beat him.
He was really good because he
Like-
was so believable. Like I didn't even know he was a troll until after I googled it for like a while after I saw the clip I found. But this one I was like I actually believed it for like most of it, and I started to think I don't know.
You saw what happened with him and Maddox.
I
There's
heard
a guy
something
he used
happened.
to have a show together, and like I think Maddox got pissed off because he cucked him. Then like I forget what happened, but like I think he's trying to sue, and like there's gonna be a lawsuit now to prove that Masterson was a cuck.
What?
Like it's pretty funny, all that stuff. You had to look it up between Dick and Maddox.
Yeah.
But it's like a whole thing. I think Jim he was on the Kill Stream a few times, and like he does videos about that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
So do you want to dive into that History Channel stuff?
yeah, so like what happened to the History Channel? It's gone so far like completely unrelated to history at this
Well,
point.
it used to be documentaries and literally history stuff, but ever since reality TV took over in like the early 2000s, I think their viewership was going down. They thought, hey, let's put some reality TV in here that's semi-loosely geared toward history. And that's where you get American Pickers, Pawn Stars, all that stuff. But at least American Pickers and Pawn Stars can actually be interesting.
But it's not where you're going
But
on there for.
Yeah,
You
it's
go into
something that should be
history-
on Discovery Channel.
Like now you find history at like the odd hours, and like now prime time it's like Vikings or
Yeah, they have started some like cable like shows.
It's just not history. It's supposed to be like a documentary channel. Now they relegate that to like History 2 or something. And now I think they have like so many different knockoffs because they keep changing what history's about. Like
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be this like trendy channel that has it's not HBO. It's supposed to be the History Channel.
Well, HBO isn't beholden to advertisers, so they can get away with like Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
Well,
Whereas
HBO's
History Channel's
not supposed
beholden
to
to
be a
them.
History Channel.
Yeah.
Like History Channel, they're just trying to get money now. Like
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be for cool and like modern marvels. That was when it was like actually good because you'd see some cool stuff.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's just so far gone from the purpose of history. And like you see that with a lot of channels like MTV. MTV isn't even about music television. It's about Teen Mom and like a bunch of other like girl drama stuff,
It's like thought drama.
Yeah, like, and what happened to like they Beavis and Butthead and stuff like that, just like edgy TV shows. Now it's just like, oh, Teen Mom. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I'd rather see music videos and like Beavis and Butthead style animation. 'Cause, I mean, that was such a cool time in history. You could have that stuff. I mean, it was a pretty degenerate show, but it was funny and it was stupid and it made you laugh. But now it's just Teen Mom.
Well, the reason like that MTV has lost its audience because YouTube stole it. YouTube is where people put their music videos up because it can go to a lot more people. You can keep watching it. And those always tend to be like the top trending videos on YouTube is like whenever Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, whoever the fuck is the pop star.
The Vivo now.
Viva. Yeah, Vivo. Yeah,
Vivo's a big one. 'Cause you see
Yeah.
that all the time. And, they'd be smart if they put some other content
Well, that's
on
what
there.
MTV should have done. See, they didn't adapt to the environment quick enough. They should have made a YouTube channel where everybody would be the Vivo, but they'd be on YouTube and they'd be MTV. That's what they should have done, but they weren't smart, and now they have to totally rebrand, totally change what they do.
I think the same thing. Do you remember the G4 channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened with them. They
That
used to
had-
have
what was that
video
guy's name?
games. It was
Yeah.
Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb and a bunch of other, like
What's
Olivia Munn
Shane,
or whatever.
No, not Shane Dalton. It's what's the guy that? Oh fuck, I forget the comedian's name. He did those videos on that channel all the time.
Well, they had the one guy who was involved in Gamergate for like banging a bunch of girls. And I could see it. Like he seemed like kind of an asshole on there, but he was funny.
I think that's the guy I'm thinking. What's his name? I can't
I
remember.
don't know. Was he in the Five Guys video?
I don't remember.
I don't know,
He had like a show where he did like commentary, I guess.
Well, like
I
that,
can't
that's the
believe the
thing.
name's
Like
slipping
that,
me.
that entire channel just like they didn't adapt fast enough, and then they
Yeah.
ended up getting destroyed because of Let's Plays. And they used to have
Yep.
this one called Cheaters, and they had another show called Cheaters that was about two different subjects, and that's what half the show was. But the original Cheaters was like video game cheat codes, but then they stopped making cheat codes in video games because they realized they could sell that to people with downloadable content. And then they just had like cops reruns and cheaters where people
Fucking
cheating
cops.
on spouses and recording it.
Yeah.
And they used to have some cool car videos too. Then they got rid of that. Then it just became reruns of like American Ninja Warrior and like Cops and Cheaters.
Yeah. So the first thing that literally came on my Google G4 is American Ninja Warrior.
Like that's all that happened to it, and they just let it die. Like channels have just gone to shit. And like it's not like people just need to learn to adapt.
Well, I fucking
changing
animes on there
environment.
apparently.
Yeah, I think they used to. They don't exist anymore. The channel got bought out by like.
Oh yeah,
Esquire.
channel doesn't exist anymore.
Like it became Esquire.
Yeah, Esquire Bomb. Yeah.
But I used to like it when as a kid before YouTube came out because they'd show you video games and tell you cheats before like, internet was fast and user friendly. It was the place to go. But now it's not. Like tons of companies just don't know how to innovate and change. Like look at what's going on with Buick. Like they used to have cool cars. And like Oldsmobile, like look what happened with them. Like
Yeah,
they
they're
used to
gone.
have really big car, like the Rocket 88, and they had like cool cars back in the 60s and stuff. And then like during the 90s, they just became cars for old people.
Yeah.
That's what I first heard of Oldsmobile. I thought it was literally a cars made for old
Oldsmobile.
people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't originally about that. And like,
Yeah.
just look at what's going on with Ford. Like, what are they even doing now? They're making SUVs. They don't have any like. They only have like
So
two
they're getting
cars.
rid of all their. Did you hear like last
They
year
have
they
two
said
cars now.
yeah they're only gonna have 2 cars, SUVs, and their truck. They're getting rid
I
of
think
all
they have
their normal.
I think they're still
cars.
making the Focus, aren't they? They're gonna have the Mustang, and they're gonna have like the Focus.
Yeah, they're gonna have the
getting
Focus.
rid of.
Yeah.
I think they're getting rid of the Fusion.
Yeah.
And they're just making like 10 SUVs. Like there's going to be a crash with SUVs once.
Oh yeah.
Once like gas prices start going up again, it's just, and they're going to really suffer because they rolled that out through the 2008 oil crisis or whatever it was.
Well, remember Cash for
2006.
Clunkers? Obama did, where he's like, "Oh, trade in your bad car, and we'll give
Oh,
you a good
everyone-
one." And that was a failure.
Or even one, like that's what happened to Hummer. They were doing really good until they had the oil prices
Yeah.
skyrocket. And who's going to want to drive a Hummer when you can't afford to gas it up?
Well, yeah, that's what the oil embargo brought in all those like cheap Japanese cars and the VW Beetle. All that shit became popular because gas prices were insane.
But yeah, but like, what does even Ford stand for anymore? Like,
Fix or repair daily.
yeah, like it doesn't, like no one, like no kid goes out and is like, oh, I'm gonna buy a Ford. Like no, they
Yeah.
want to go and buy a Honda because at least they're reliable.
I just
They
remember-
buy a Toyota.
I'm sorry, totally off topic, but Tosh.0. That's what I
Oh
was
yeah, I
thinking
remember
of.
that. Yeah,
That's
was a
what I was
show.
thinking of.
And now it's like on Comedy Central because that channel failed.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was Web Soup. I think that was on
Oh.
G4, which was basically Tosh.0, but then
Okay.
Tosh.0 stole it because no one watched G4. So I don't blame him.
Yeah.
You just do that commentary on people getting hit in the nuts by like a banana or something. That's pretty much like Tosh.
Pretty much
The
Tosh.0.
song gets hit in the nuts. Ooh, I'm gonna react to that. But he's pretty funny.
I never watched him, but like I remember the name. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, cars. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you on that thought, but yeah, it's totally gone, just degenerate to like SUVs because they know with with car decisions are the most irrational decision like the average Joe makes. Look, they're buying gas guzzling, jacked up, high center of gravity, impractical SUVs.
Well,
It doesn't make any
people
sense.
want to get an SUV because they think they're gonna need it. They're like, oh, what if I have to go and carry like a bunch
can't
of stuff?
fit
Like,
shit in
like
it.
just rent like a van or something. Like
Yeah.
it depends. Some of them are good, but like, and then they're gonna spend all this stuff. Same thing with like the truck market. Like back in the day, they used to have practical trucks like S10s and Rangers. Now you get all this crazy. I mean, there's a purpose for trucks and like big trucks too. But 9 out of 10 people who buy F-250s and Silverado like 1500s and like 2500s and like big ass diesels, they're pavement princesses. Like I had a buddy of mine who had this it was a nice truck, had like this big ass smokestack out the back, and he did not use it for any sort of heavy hauling in like the year or two that he had it. He just let it rot, and like he'd drive it around and stuff, and it was so much in repairs, and he never used it for its intended purpose. Like people go and buy more car than they really need.
Yeah.
And like, you can have, and the SUVs are slow. I don't like them. They're just blobby. It's a pain to go and park, which is why they all have backup sensors now.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that's causing this is these safety regulations, which has gone so far overboard recently. Like that's why in like Japan, you have these like small cars. They call them K cars over there. They're small and they're fun. They're lightweight, and they don't have those over here. And that's another reason why SUVs are becoming more popular. And there's a couple reasons why, but one of the reasons is because safety regulations have made it so that like smaller cars have to have so much crap built into them that they become like unfun. Like the airbags have to be everywhere, so you have your own little hug box if you ever get hit.
I don't mind that.
Like it's gotten so far. Like in the 2000s, I think was that was fine. Like early 90s, it was pretty dangerous, but nowadays they have airbags. I've been in an accident before. I was fine with a car from the 2000s, but like I don't know. I think they need to go and stop that. But with the SUVs too, another thing is they realize they can charge people significantly more for those, and they're not much more to manufacture. Like
Oh yeah, that's true.
you buy like a regular sedan or something, you can probably get for like $25,000. You buy like an SUV, it's like 30 something for the shitty version, and they don't even have any like big engines anymore. Like some of them do, but like a lot of them, they get these crossover things, which is
Oh,
just like a
God.
buzzword.
It's a buzzword.
And it's like, oh, look at this crossover. It's like it's got the engine of a compact. It's
crossover
got like a
between
Civic
what?
engine. And it's got like the body of a sumo wrestler. Not a sumo wrestler. It's like a guy who McDonald's regular.
Yeah.
They're like, and they become slow because of that. And they, it's just more expensive, more car than people need. And I don't know, it's just a stupid people these days. They get so preoccupied over meaningless stuff that they'll never use. Like,
Well, because they market these things as, oh, you're going to be tough and macho with it. Look at me. I'm high on off the ground. Where it's like, I don't really give a shit about like, that sort of stuff. I just want a car that's practical and can get me to point A to point B. And really, you don't need these. Everybody could just have a sedan and they'd be perfectly fine. That's all they need.
well, they don't need it, but like, if everyone doesn't have to go and buy the most expensive cars out there. They don't need to go and buy the most craziest things out there these days. They just buy too much, and I think there needs to be more different cars because all these things look the same, it seems.
Yeah, they're all very boring. And like, if you buy an Audi, every Audi looks the same. Buy a BMW, every BMW looks the same.
And like, it's just the SUVs. Like, they don't really innovate too much, and they just look like, oh, have this like strange face on them.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I think that they should have more fun cars. And one why people don't want to buy cars is because like the millennials don't like buying cars is because they're all the same. They're all this like giant, slow, beast, and they're not even that fuel efficient. And they have all these turbochargers because they can't put like, decent engines in them anymore because emissions and a bunch of other reasons. Like, they just need to stop.
Yeah. Okay, so now we'll talk about the midterms as our final little topic. Because that's, of course, coming up on Tuesday, and we're recording this on a Sunday. So my prediction, just for the record, see what happens, because I might be very wrong, I don't know, but I'm thinking Republicans will definitely keep the Senate. I don't think we have to worry about that. I think they actually might gain seats. That's a little, maybe not, but I think they'll gain seats. In the House, I think they're going to lose seats, but they're not going to lose the majority because they have like 50 seats or something, or like 70.
I'm not sure how that is.
Yeah, they have a big majority. Like, so if they lose even a significant amount, they're still going to have a majority. And I think that's what's going to happen more or less. Because it's really hard to tell because these are all local elections. It depends on the candidate, depends on gerrymandering, depends on a lot of things. That's the only sort of prediction I can safely kind of make. But the Dems lost their edge really after Kavanaugh. And I think Republicans are afraid of just losing things. I mean, that I think is a bigger fear than anything. They're afraid of losing tax cuts. They're afraid of losing guns. And they're afraid of losing Trump. Because the Democrats are going to raise your taxes. They're going to take your guns. And they're going to impeach Trump. And that's the message they've been sending out. And they don't want to lose any of those things. And Trump's legacy really depends on this midterm. But I will say that I think both sides are going to see massive turnouts. I think you're going to see a lot of Republicans, maybe biggest turnout ever. A lot of Democrats, maybe biggest turnout ever. And it's all going to come out to who turns out more in these areas. And lastly, I'll say that I think the branding by Republicans on the jobs not mobs is extremely effective. Good contrast, good rhyme, of course, and puts the message perfectly because people are afraid of their safety now. They're afraid of their fucking safety. If they elect Maxine Waters, if they elect any of these crazies, these are people that want to harass you because of your political beliefs. And we're seeing some races I think will be close, like Michigan. I think that's going to be really close. I don't know if they're going to turn it red, but it's going to be really close because John James, who is a veteran, a businessman, African-American, Republican, he has gotten a lot of enthusiasm, but I don't know if he's going to get enough votes, but I think it'll be real close. And finally, Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA, he sent a tweet out yesterday where he said he had some early voting data, and it said he said, quote, California Republicans are turning out early and big. Michigan data shows Republican areas outpacing 2016 trends. Arizona has seen surge in Republican turnout. Florida, in the first time in years, GOP outpaced Dems in early voting. Really interesting stuff, I think.
I don't know, like, honestly, I have no idea. I saw what happened in the 2016 election. You can't really tell anymore. I think it's going to be probably pretty close between both of them because I know there's going to be, at least on the Republican side, a lot of turnout. But, I mean, there's going to be some, just historically, like the midterm elections, they tend to kind of be bad for the president just because, people who aren't happy with what things are going will go and flip-flop to the other side and vote accordingly because they kind of got pissed off. But I've seen a lot on the news. I don't know how much I trust it because, like I saw the 2016, you can't really trust the news anymore.
You can't trust the polls.
They lie. Like, they were completely wrong. They said Hillary Clinton had like a 99% chance of winning, and she lost, by a pretty decent margin.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I think a lot of people, they kind of got like, they saw what happened with the just like the what was it, the mail bomber dude.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think they're gonna care.
I think they're gonna see that. They're gonna think that the Democrats were involved with that somehow.
Or with the caravan, because the caravan's timing is very convenient. It's good for Republicans, but it's like, I think Gavin McGinnis was talking about this. He's like, his conspiracy is that Democrats wanted this caravan to get to the border, and an ICE agent accidentally shoot one of these, illegal immigrant babies, and you get that photo out there, and that's what totally flips it for Dems.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big issue with the caravan, but like I think most people are not in favor of the caravan.
Yeah, and that's
over.
why I say it helps Republicans.
But like you mentioned, they want someone to go and like shoot them. Like it's going to be whatever happens. It's going to be like at the 11th hour. Same thing with the Kavanaugh. It's going to end up becoming a big issue no matter which way it turns, and it might going to be a little extra surge. But I think there's going to be there's going to be more people in this like election than most times in the midterms, but I'm definitely going out to vote.
Oh yeah, I already did. I did during the Kavanaugh confirmation where Trump was swearing him in. I was like, straight R.
Well, do they let you, like, are you allowed to early vote over here?
Absentee.
Oh yeah.
That's what they mean by early voting, really. And they sometimes count this stuff early, but usually they count absentee ballots with the actual voting. But other thing that's interesting I'll mention is that Trump tweeted out 2 great ads. One of them they're calling racist, which is really stupid because all it shows is like this illegal immigrant that is bragging about killing cops, and it shows the caravan, and it just poses the question, who else would Democrats let in? They're calling this ad racist, which is stupid.
Well, they need to have more ads like that. I like that.
They did. It was great.
I think they need to go and have more. They need I think we need to go and do like a compilation, like all the times you see leftists like attacking police.
That was the other ad. It was called the
Attacking.
Jobs Not Mobs ad. It showed all the success, this economic success, and then showed all the Antifa, Maxine Waters, Eric Holder, all this left-wing violence.
Because you see that all the time, and no one reports on it other than like
Yep.
Fox, and even them, they don't report on it enough. Like every time we see like an Antifa poster, like a communist symbol, every time you see like them starting fires, starting riots, those need to be recorded, and those needs to be like put out somewhere. Someone needs to go and do a better job with making more ads. I think it's a good start, but I think there needs to be more of these. Definitely.
I love how he tweeted them out too, because not only did he get attention, every news outlet was reporting on this because they were calling it racist, which is stupid. Because it's not. I mean, there's nothing about the race that's involved at all. But he gets free advertising because of it, because they're all showing it.
Honestly, I think like Twitter's gonna eventually just ban Trump, and at that point he's gonna go and choose
I
another.
don't think they will.
Well, I think eventually they might. I mean, it depends.
If it got really, like, if he was really, 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 really good, and they were really, really desperate and really, really stupid, they would. But
That's gonna end up turning on, and like, Twitter's gonna end up getting like problems with them. I mean, they've already are having problems from what I understand.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
keep
Facebook and Instagram banned Gavin McGinnis the other day.
They keep
And
banning
they already
people.
banned him from Twitter.
Like, see, they need to go and have a class action lawsuit with like Milo, Gavin McGinnis, and like Alex Jones, just against these big mobs of leftists. Because I think there's a good case. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I think there's a good case for like what was it, denial of service, like what was it, conspiracy or something.
Yeah.
There's a word for that. I looked it up
Yeah.
before, and it was a what was this, like a anti. What are those things? Antitrust.
Antitrust.
It was based within that
Sherman
act.
Antitrust Acts, where they were talking about a
It's
little
in
bit.
violation of that, but
Yeah.
Apple does that all the time too. They violate that act because
Yeah.
you technically have a right to repair things.
You do?
Yeah,
Interesting.
and they try to go and make it like same thing. Like big video game companies, like they violate that too, because like at least with the PlayStation 2, that is things like void if broken. This little pieces of tape in there, and that was ruled to be illegal. And like I don't know if you ever paid attention to those things, but a couple of years ago they had this like class action lawsuit and got like $5 from it because of stuff like that. But most of the time, people don't care.
Well, I'll mention 2 more things because you remind me of the second thing. But I loved, because we're mentioning Trump's Twitter, I loved his Game of Thrones tweet that had a picture of him, and it said sanctions are coming, which is a meme of the winter is coming. And he put the date November 5th, right before the midterms. I'm like, hell fucking yeah, I love this president. This is awesome.
Hashtag he's my president.
Yes. Hashtag sanctions are coming. But did you see the thing that happened with Diablo?
No, I didn't see that.
I sent that to you last night.
I didn't get a chance to watch
They were
it.
hype because Diablo 3 came out in like 20,
Was it 2014 or something?
I think 13.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So it's a long time ago. So they were hyping up like their next installment, and at their BlizzCon reveal, they revealed Diablo. I think it's Infinite. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name. but it was a mobile game.
Oh God.
So the fans literally booed it. And the PR people were obviously like, oh no, we know this is going to be
Blizzard
bad.
already has a good one. They already have Hearthstone. I don't know why they need to go and like make another mobile game.
Because they want that, you know, shekels.
Oh jeez. I mean,
But what was funny was the one guy came up to them, and they normally screen you for questions because they were asking questions. So he lied to them what his question really was. And he said to them, is this an April Fool's joke?
oh my God.
They all were like, and when they were like, he became like a meme because of this. Now he's becoming a meme, and like people were like taking pictures and selfies with him, like this is my hero. But the other thing was when they originally booed the announcement, the one fucking PR guy that was giving the presentation, you know what he said?
What?
He said, "What? Do you guys not have phones?"
Oh, this guy's ridiculous.
Bad optics.
Well, see, they need to go and fire all those people. Maybe get some more like PR and like marketing people.
They
in
should
charge
have
of
made
that.
this game. It should be for fucking like.
Well, who asked them for that? Like, who wanted it? Did they
None
like
of them.
screen people?
No, yeah. The fans literally said we want a Diablo 4 or remastered Diablo 2 and 3. It's what we want. We want for PC and console.
Well,
They're just doing a mobile game.
Well, see, this is why they have things called focus groups.
Yes.
Like, this is where that would come in handy because no one in their right mind would think that everyone wants a mobile game. I mean, they already have World of Warcraft. They already have Hearthstone. They have enough of that. They wanted a Diablo 4. Give them what they want.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect note to end on. Give the people what they want.
All right.
But all right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time in our edition of Real News.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more Real News.